We are back in Srimad Bhagavatam. I just got on the YouTube. I have a bad habit of just speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. So better we are back. Glorify the gurus now so that I don't forget to do it later. All together. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshiram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishdam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Didati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Kamsajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakan Tanamostute Taptakam Jalagorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhani Site Devi Pranamami Priye Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnaveyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Vishatanine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. So that's our Mangala Charan. We're honoring the gurus, those who have opened up our eyes with knowledge, especially this transcendental spiritual knowledge. We're walking around in this material world as if blind, and the guru or the teachers in our life, they take like a little scalpula, a little tool, and they scoop out the formed cataract in the eye that's causing our blindness. And it hurts and it's painful, but actually that's what they're doing. And they're giving us the ointment of knowledge. So, Gyananjana, the ointment. Anjana is like an ointment of knowledge. So that's what they're doing. They're giving us the ointment of knowledge. So, let's get the ointment of knowledge from reading Srila Prabhupada's purports on the Srimad Bhagavatam and have the cataracts removed from our eyes, our blindness to reality, our blindness to the ultimate meaning and purpose of life. We get so caught up in the temporary things, which lead to miseries. But this will lead to happiness, for you and then most importantly for God. So, without further ado, my wife has come. Hare Krishna. So, Nishamya Bhishmok. Oh, how am I going to do this? Nishamya Bhishmoktam Athachutoktam Pravrita Vijnana Viduta Vibrama Shashasagamindra Ivajitashraya Paridyupantam Manujanuvartita Jai Nishamya after listening. Bhishma Uktam, what was spoken by Bhishma Dev. Am I on the right chapter? Okay. Atha, as also. Achyuta Uktam, what was spoken by the infallible Lord Krishna. Pravritta, being engaged in. Vijnana, perfect knowledge. The difference between jnana, which is just information, and then vijnana is perfectly realized knowledge. Viduta, completely washed. Vibrahma, all misgivings. Shasasa, ruled over. Gam, the earth. Indra, the king of the heavenly planet. Eva, like. Ajita Ashrayaha, protected by the invincible Lord. Paridhi Upantam, including the seas. Anuja, the younger brothers. Anuvartita, being followed by them. Translation. Craig, Hare Krishna. So you made it just for the translation. Maharaj Yudhishthir, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Dev and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge because all his misgivings were eradicated. And thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Now, misgivings, are these doubts? Is that what misgivings are? You guys know what misgivings are? Yes, a feeling of doubt or apprehension about the outcome or consequences of something. So all of his doubts have been removed. Actually, this is how you know someone is qualified to be your teacher. You have to do two things. You can't get any proper shiksha, which is instruction, without being a proper shishya, or you could say the instructee. So if you want to be the instructee, we talked about this, remember, in 434. What are the three things we have to do, the three processes? Yeah, pranipatena, we have to approach someone humbly. First thing, humble ourselves. Humbly. Then, pariprashnena, the process of asking questions. This is so essential. And then, sevaya. Then, yes, rendering service. This is the three portals to mercy. If you're not good at any of these three things, you will not be getting mercy in your life. If you want mercy, you must find someone worthy to go before. Humbly go before them. A lot of times our false egos are very large. So we want to approach everyone, and everyone is at least our equal. There can never be anyone greater than me. I am so wonderful. This is the false ego, thinking how wonderful we are and what position we're in. So we have to humbly go before others, be ready to offer our submissive respect, ask relevant questions. The really deep burning questions that is, why is this facet of my life like this? Why? Someone who knows. Someone might know. If we're humble, maybe we can ask the question. If we're not humble, no chance. Because you never want anyone to detect your weakness. That's our nature. We never want anyone to detect our weaknesses. Hare Krishna, Michael. But actually, we have to. This is essential. And then to render service. When we realize the qualification of the personality and their ability to help us, we render service. So, like this. And it's not service on our terms. I like this service, and I want to do this service, so I'll do it. And they might accept, no problem. But really, what is genuine service? What do you need? What is it? How can I be helpful to you? What do you need? I was giving the example, remember when Holly was here, and we were talking about who Holly used to like some musicians, and maybe she wanted to start rendering some service by sending in the mail, cakes and sweets and all these things. But if the person's diabetic, what good is the service? We might have an idea of what our service should be, but they might have a better idea of they'll definitely have a better idea of what they need in regards to service. So like that. But anyway, Maharaj Yudhishthir, he went through this whole process with Krishna and Bhishma Dev. And Krishna ultimately deferred the situation to Bhishma Dev. Why? To glorify his devotee. This is oftentimes. Even so, you see this with Srila Prabhupada, other contemporary acharyas or contemporaries of Srila Prabhupada. A lot of times, someone would ask Prabhupada a question. Prabhupada would say, ask him, he'll know. And he'd point to one of his disciples. So like this is, why? To glorify the disciple, to show that he also knows, and he's also capable. And actually that will give even more glory to the Guru. And what ended up happening? Bhishma, he extolled the glories of Krishna. So this is, this is very nice. That's why in the traditional Gurukul system, there's the teacher, and then he teaches the advanced students, and he'll give practical teachings. But then eventually what happens is they become so advanced, all the new students coming in, he said, no, you learn from this student. And then the new students, even there would be batches of students. And the younger ones would learn from the little bit elder ones, and the elder ones would learn from the even elder ones. And then the eldest ones would have to learn directly from the teacher. Like this. So sometimes Krishna does. And you see that here. Bhishma completely enlightened Yudhishthir and completely got rid of his misgivings, his doubts about his position of what he should do and the sin he's taken on for the massacre that happened in the war. And ultimately they were able to pacify him and engage him in matters of perfect knowledge. And thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. Now this is going to be a decent purport. Prabhupada is saying, the modern English law of, what is that word? Primogeniture. I'm just going to have to Google it. Primogeniture. What is that? The state of being the firstborn child. Wow. Like progeny is kind of... so the state of being the first... the modern English law of primogeniture, or the law of inheritance by the firstborn, was also prevalent in those days when Maharaj Yudhishthir ruled the earth and seas. In those days, the king of Hastinapur, now part of New Delhi, was the emperor of the world, including the seas up to the time of Maharaj Parikshit, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir's younger brothers were acting as his ministers and commanders of state. And there was full cooperation between the perfectly religious brothers of the king. Maharaj Yudhishthir was the ideal king or representative of Lord Sri Krishna to rule over the kingdom of earth, and was comparable to King Indra, the representative ruler of the heavenly planets. The demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, and Vayu are representative kings of different planets of the universe, and similarly Maharaj Yudhishthir was also one of them, ruling over the kingdom of the earth. Maharaj Yudhishthir was not a typically unenlightened political leader of modern democracy. We were just kind of talking about that yesterday, and then Prabhupada is saying, Maharaj Yudhishthir was instructed by Bhishma Dev and the infallible Lord also, and therefore he had full knowledge of everything in perfection. The modern elected executive head of a state is just like a puppet, because he has no kingly power. Even if he is enlightened like Maharaj Yudhishthir, he cannot do anything out of his own goodwill due to his constitutional position. Therefore, there are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. But a king like Maharaj Yudhishthir has had no ideology of his own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and the authorized agent, Bhishma Dev. It is instructed in the Shastras that one should follow the great authority and the infallible Lord without any personal motive and manufactured ideology. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthir to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. So he's mentioning how the gulf of difference between Maharaj Yudhishthir's ruling over the nations and governance, and then unfortunately our governance in Kali Yuga and Prabhupada is saying, through the process of democracy, which actually in Prabhupada is mentioned in other places, is the best of a bad bargain. Of Kali Yuga, how it works, this is actually the best of a bad bargain. Even though all the most unqualified people have their opinions in the government and able to put their opinions into things, it's the best of a bad bargain. Because that's really what it is. It's a popularity contest. But if most of the population is foolish, and in Kali Yuga that's what it is, you're going to get naturally foolish leaders, foolish legislation, foolish rulership, foolish policies. Everything will be foolish. So you got to be ready for this in Kali Yuga. And that's why we mentioned yesterday, Jesus even was in Kali Yuga, and he was like, nope, not participating. I don't even care if it's a religious institution. He was not participating one bit. Because ultimately, everyone is so vastly unqualified to do the position. So anyhow, why? Because they're all following their own manufactured ideologies, as Prabhupada is saying, and they have their own personal motives. And instead of everyone following the laws of the Lord and being trained in this way, and everyone in the governing system, including those who are to be governed and those who are governing, is all in cooperation. This is how we govern. These are the laws that we follow. This is what the duty of a king is. This is what the duty of a business person is. This is what the duty of an ordinary worker in this world. So this is all understood by the culture, and in the Vedic culture it was there. Now it's lost. The caste system was abused, or the varnashram system, I should say, was abused. It's become what's known as the caste system. And naturally the whole world rejected it because they were abusing. They were, doing everything by birth but nothing by qualification. And so naturally it became smashed by the whole world. And now, only Prabhupada is trying to, and our Gaudiya Acharyas are trying to re-establish true Daivi Varnashram. And actually in our institutions, or you can even say in our small groups of, let's say Mantra Central, we can actually run these things by these principles. We can understand what it's like. We had a little seminar about book distribution, and also there was a section I was sharing on leadership. There's things that we can do to actually lead projects and opportunities based on these Vedic concepts. So that's what Maharaj Yudhishthira, he was ruling the whole world in that way. And it was like a heaven on earth, actually. Everything, we're seeing all these natural disasters and this thing, that thing, and the other thing. These are symptoms that the world is not, that the leaders and everything is all out of whack. We're seeing it here.
Especially the animal slaughter.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Animal slaughter is, you could say anything. A wholesale, sexuality is through the roof. All of the, and this is this is a well-known thing, but probably the biggest epidemic people are facing, people spend so much time on the internet, and what are the most visited sites? Pornography. People are indulging in these things, and ultimately, for men, squandering their essence and their life source. And then on top of that, you were mentioning animal slaughter. This is the norm. It's the norm, and it's recommended. So naturally, such wholesale slaughter of innocent beings who have no ability to fight back, so to say. At least in the wild, hunting, things like that. It's a game. It's like a game, but when you farm them, there's no ability for the animal to run, defend itself, anything. It's just pure. I raise you. It's like you're like a pet, a dog. I raise you, and then all right, now time to get in the slaughter machine. It's just it's a very horrible thing. And interestingly enough, it happens to us. Many young men go off to war. We raised you, the society raises you. Now, come on, fight for your country. We don't even necessarily know why we fight. We don't necessarily know who we're fighting for, who the enemy is, what's the cause, what's the purpose. And actually, many times it's due to personal motives and manufactured ideologies. We make enemies out of people. Right now in this country, Russia's the big enemy, and China is the big enemy. It can't be us. We can't be bad. They're the big enemy, But ultimately, nobody is following the laws of God. And what will happen is unfortunate circumstances. But in Maharaj Yudhishthir's rulership, none of this was present. It couldn't be present. Even in Maharaj Parikshit's, even when Kali, he came and began to try and begin his, you could say, reign over this age or yuga, Maharaj Parikshit was there to stop him. And it was only out of Krishna's arrangement that he gave him some place where he could do business, so to say. We'll get to that. That's actually in a future chapter. We'll see why the regulative principles are there. Because we see what the deal Maharaj Parikshit made with Kali. So anyhow, where are we? Therefore it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible and universally applicable to everyone. The conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. There's a movement for a new world order. All the puppet heads, they've been saying it in multiple countries. The Bushes have been saying it. The Clintons have been saying it. A new world order, a new world order, a new world order. They're always throwing it in there. If you really want a one world government, and that's what the so-called Illuminati of the world wants, there's only one way to do it. I mean, Prabhupada was all for it, but you have to do it the right way. You can't manufacture a new world order. You follow how to rule. And that's what the Vedas are giving. They're showing how to have a one world order. Maharaj Yudhishthira was a one world order, but there's a way to do it. It's not, you can't trick your way into it and trick the masses into it and, manufacture the system. Okay, so the conception of one world state can only be fulfilled if we can follow the infallible authority. An imperfect human being cannot create an ideology acceptable to everyone, whether you're Karl Marx or the founding fathers of America or any of the, you can't manufacture it. Only the perfect and the infallible can create a program which is applicable at every place and can be followed by all in the world. It is the person who rules and not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. If the person is a fool, the government is a fool's paradise. Yes. That is the law of nature. There are so many stories of imperfect kings or executive heads. Therefore, the executive head must be a trained person like Maharaj Yudhishthira, and he must have the full autocratic power to rule over the world. The conception of a world state can take shape only under the regime of a perfect king like Maharaj Yudhishthira. The world was happy in those days because there were kings like Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule over the world. So this is Prabhupada, it's not that he shied away from politics or anything like this. It's not that the Bhagavatam shies away from politics. No, all that information is given. But it's all under the blanket, all under the understanding that either we follow God's order or we'll lead everything to ruin. So they followed God's order. They lived by the laws of God. The separation of church and state, it's lauded as such a benediction of our government. It's the last thing that we want for true happiness in a government. Now, I mean, maybe we should separate from certain churches, for sure. But under the one, if we were all sincerely serving the one world, God's laws, we would never want to separate from that. So anyway, this is Prabhupada's thing. So we'll continue. Kamam bhavarsha parjanya sarvakama dughamahi Si shichu sma vrajan gavaha. Payasodasvatir muda. Kamam, everything needed. Vavarsha was showered. Parjanya, rains. Sarva, everything. Kama, necessities. Dugha, producer. Mahi, the land. Sishichu sma, moisten. Vrajan, pasturing grounds. Gava, the cow. Payasa udasvati, due to swollen milk bags. Muda, because of a joyful attitude. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir, the cloud showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag, the udders, and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. Purport. Ooh, this is a good size purport. The basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. The necessities of human society are food grains, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood, etc. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly, one does not require flesh and fish or iron tools and machinery. During the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthir, all over the world there were regulated rainfalls. Rainfalls are not in the control of the human being. The heavenly king Indradev is the controller of the rains, and he is the servant of the Lord. When the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains from the horizon. And these rains are causes of all varieties of production on the land. Not only do regulated rains help ample production of grains and fruits, but when they combine with astronomical influences, there is ample production of valuable stones and pearls. So the Vedas had a lot of sciences on how even jewels and things would come from the earth. There are certain nakshatras, when they're like, I think the Swati nakshatra is one of them that's known. When the rains would come under the Swati nakshatra, it said it would produce jewels in earth, and minerals can become accessible. So I'm not privy to this science. I'm not sure if modern science is privy to this science, even in India. But the Vedas claim an understanding of this science. But that's all has to do with, whatever natural arrangement creates the jewels and wealth and the abundance of the earth. This all has to do with the Lord's providing certain things. Michael, have a great day. Craig, have a great day. I look forward to soon having you guys for the entire Bhagavatam class. So it's coming soon. Hare Krishna. So, yes, it's our, we have to understand this. And actually the reason the current, at least in this country, the reason he's got in office and so many people voted him in is because they were noticing there was a lack of abundance, and a lack of abundance in the economy, their wealth. The American people, they were feeling neglected. They were feeling, oh, I don't have the abundance that I used to have. The prices have gone up everywhere. This, that, and the other. These are actually symptoms of improper rulership. So, naturally they want to change. Naturally we should want to change. But I'm not sure we're going to get the change. We'll see. But right now we're getting a bunch of natural disasters. So I don't know if that's a good trade. But we'll see what happens. But anyhow, this is all these things happen when improper rulership is there. These are symptoms, omens, that wherever these natural calamities happen, this is omens that in this area things are not being done properly. Something could be done. It could even be as simple as, I don't know, let's just say one of the rulers of state gets paid off by an industry and they say, oh, let's light this whole place on fire and we want to build industry here. They could do anything. You never know what's going to happen, actually. But this is a symptom of improper rulership. If the world is on fire, there's something wrong. These are omens. So this is understood in the Vedic understanding as well. But all ancient traditions, they understood this. They thought, yes, things happen for a reason. It's not that just things randomly happen and wow, another random disaster. I wonder why that happened. No, there's always underlying reasons for everyone. There's always karma to be served out. We have to accept it. It happens to us all the time. Does it not? Right now, you guys are in an interesting, you two in specific, are in like an interesting karmic bubble. You're like, wow, how am I, I've gone through my schooling, I've done all this, but I'm still displaced from, what my position. And you might even see some of your peers around you are getting their opportunities. But why is it not come for me as of yet? What would you answer to that? Yes. So there's a verse. Do you know the verse of the Bhagavatam? That anyone who's dealing with any suffering, this is the verse for you. You know the verse, Parth?
You said once it's in 10th canto, 11th canto.
10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8, spoken by Lord Brahma. It goes, Tatenu kampam susamikshmano punjana evatma kritam vipakam hridvagva prabir vidadan namaste jiveta yamukti pade sadayabak. And it means if you're eagerly seeking the Lord's compassion or the Lord's mercy, first you have to punjana evatma kritam vipakam. You have to experience the results of your own self-inflicted miseries. We did it. It's our karma. Everything we've ever done has attracted the life that we currently have. That's the truth. We have to accept the reality. This is my lot in life. This is what I deserve. As unpleasant, unfavorable as it is. But there's hope. If you want the Lord's mercy and to be relieved from the many miseries that you have caused yourself due to your past activities and deeds, it says, Hridvag vaprabir vidadan namaste. Hrid, with the heart, with one's mind, with one's desires, one's thinking, feeling, and willing. Vag, with one's speech. And vaprabir, with one's body. Vidadan, let me offer it. Namaste, unto you, unto the Supreme Lord. Jiveta yo mukti, one whom does that can live. Jiveta yo mukti pade, at the feet of he who gives mukti or gives freedom from those suffering. Sadayabak, and you will receive his causeless mercy. So mukti pade is a name for Krishna, he whose feet gives liberation. So this is what we do. If we find ourselves, and this is what the citizens of the world need to do. This needs to be the real revolution, a spiritual revolution. If people really want things to get better, yes, we can vote in one party, maybe they'll do better. But if the principles are not under surrender unto God, and actually many...
It's happening already. Many people are like there's a big shift now. Like I can see so many people who are want to.
Anyone who's suffering, they turn to... Those are the four people it says in Bhagavad Gita. They come to Krishna. The distressed, the ones who are in need of wealth, those who are inquisitive, they're curious, what's this all about? And then the best one is the jnani, the seeker of truth. Piyush was talking about that process with his friends. And that was what he became an advocate for. And then now we got to get that truth. And we have to let it become vijnana. Actually perfected knowledge. So anyhow, we know this. We know this in our lives. So that's all we do. We just accept what's there. This is my lot. All right, with my heart, with my words, and with my body, I'm going to offer it to you. And we're doing it in the morning, right? We were singing the Sanskrit words in prayer. Now we're actually singing the English words. We know what it means. That's nice, right? What did you say, better or worse? Yes, it is better. I also agree. I'm not sure I would get so much support from all of the leadership and say the institution.
It's like Sanskrit is better so that it's the actual language, but like for our own understanding, like it just opens up us much better in that way for
Yes, I agree. It's so anyhow, let's read a little bit more. Good morning, Mrs. Danker. So we're reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the basic principle of economic development is centered on land and cows. The necessity of human society are food grains, fruits, milk, minerals, clothing, wood, etc. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly one does not require flesh and fish or iron tools and machinery. During the regime of Maharaj Yudhishthira all over the world, there were regular rainfalls. Oh, we read this.
We are at
Where are we?
it's grains and valuable stones.
Grains and vegetables?
Vegetables.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's right. It was talking about these things. So grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and animals, and a fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man sumptuously with vigor and vitality. If there is enough milk, enough grains, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk, and enough jewels, then why do the people need cinemas, houses of prostitution, slaughterhouses, etc.? What is the need of an artificial, luxurious life, of cinema, cars, radio, flesh, and hotels? Has this civilization produced anything but quarreling individually and nationally? This is Prabhupada's claim he was introduced to the Western world as it was kind of coming out. You know, it kind of began at the beginning of the 1900s, this kind of industrial world that we live in now. Has this civilization produced anything? Oh, I said that. Has this civilization enhanced the cause of equality and fraternity by sending thousands of men into a hellish factory and the war fields at the whims of a particular man? So Prabhupada's asking rhetorical questions. This is what our civilization has bred. It is said here that the cows used to moisten the pasturing land with milk because their milk bags were fatty and the animals were joyful. Do they not require, therefore, proper protection for a joyful life by being fed with sufficient quantity of grass in the field? Why should men kill cows for their selfish purposes? Why should man not be satisfied with grains, fruits, and milk, which combined together can produce hundreds and thousands of palatable dishes? Why are there slaughterhouses all over the world to kill innocent animals? Maharaj Parikshit, grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthira, while touring his vast kingdom, saw a black man attempting to kill a cow. The king at once arrested the butcher and chastised him sufficiently. Should not a king or executive head protect the lives of the poor animals who are unable to defend themselves? Is this humanity? Are not the animals of a country citizens also? Then why are they allowed to be butchered in organized slaughterhouses? Are these the signs of equality, fraternity, and nonviolence? Therefore, in contrast with modern advanced civilized form of government, an autocracy like Maharaj Yudhishthira's is by far superior to a so-called democracy in which animals are killed and a man less than an animal is allowed to cast votes for another less than animal man. Wow, that's heavy. No, this is you gotta go after Prabhupada. I'm not saying these things. So or you can go after Michael when he gets back. So we are all creatures of material nature. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the Lord himself is the seed-giving father, and material nature is the mother of all living beings in all shapes. Thus, mother material nature has enough foodstuff both for animals and for the men, by the grace of the Father Almighty, Sri Krishna. The human being is the elder brother of all other living beings. He is endowed with intelligence more powerful than animals for realizing the course of nature and the indications of the Almighty Father. Actually, this is really interesting what he's saying right now, because we watched a movie about Christianity and how, a lot of the animal industries claim to be Christian. But actually, you see, we were talking about the Essenes, who they're the ones who have compiled the most popular resource for what's now being translated as biblical references, the Dead Sea Scrolls. But they were completely vegetarian. In the Garden of Eden, it was completely vegetarian. Daniel, how he got his fasting prowess and was able to, not be harmed by the lions at all. They call it the Daniel fast. It's completely vegetarian. It's very interesting. But also, a lot of the Christians, they say that the reason that they eat animals is because it says in the Bible that man was given dominion over the animals. But if you look at the Greek word from which dominion was originated from, the word is closer, means stewardship, or one who provides service. So what kind of service? This is the original translation of the Bible. What kind of service is it to murder them? If you're, going to look after somebody, like we're about to have a child. We're about to, have stewardship over the child, dominion over the child. But it doesn't mean, oh, I'm hungry one day. Some animals do this. They eat their young. If they say, if I see the baby, he's a little sick and weak, imagine I eat him. It would be a horrible thing to do. So anyhow, this is even in the Christian religion, this is very prominent. That actually, that really, in the end, if you actually see how Jesus and the disciples and the especially the Essenes and the Nazarenes from which Jesus originated from, this is how they would interact with the animals. So this is not our position. We know this. We're not doing. But also we're seeing a lot of the bad things that happen in society are due karma. Due to wholesale people are hurting, murdering the animals, and so what else can be expected? They'll have the karma for that is so heavy to cause so many other living beings suffering and pain. So we have to be ready to comfort them when things inevitably go wrong, and lead them on the right direction. But ourselves first, you just go the right direction. No, don't wait and we got to bring all of them back. You just go first. When you go, then maybe you can come back and help one or two up, or 10 or 20 or 50 or a million, who knows. But you go first. Don't wait around. I tried. I remember when I first started getting into this stuff, I wanted to bring all my friends. I wanted to bring all my family members. I'm like, come on, we all got to do that. I would get angry. I would get upset with them. Why are you not accepting? Why are you, it makes no sense, and argue and fight. And no, you just got to go. You just got to go, and they'll come if they're ever interested. Everyone has their own free will in this world. And no matter what you do with your free will, that's up to you. So anyhow, human civilizations should depend on the production of material nature without artificially attempting economic development to turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and power only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. This is but the life of dogs and hogs. So Prabhupada is so heavy, huh? Yeah, perfectness, thank you. No, I think probably contributed. So, but anyhow, these are, we have an answer for why bad things seem to happen to good people, or seemingly good people.
Destroys the karma of goodness.
Yes, and it's just what they need to experience, because it is their karma. It's the reaction to everything they've ever done in this life and past lives. So we must, for ourselves, stop implicating ourselves in this. Stop creating new layers of karma, new entanglements. So, like Tanmay, when you got here, right? You were, you were eating protein, lots of protein. Yes, yeah. So, but you see, I've already seen your life has lightened up significantly since you got here. Your consciousness and your mood, everything has lightened up significantly. So, and not just here, just by taking good practices into your life, by living by proper wholesome practices. And there's many. We have to learn all of this science, these spiritual sciences. If we don't learn them, we don't apply them, we don't turn the information, the jnana, into vijnana, or actualized, realized knowledge that we're living by, then we can't expect the wonderful results that come. So this, I didn't expect, I named the last two classes about longing for the Lord, but it didn't get so much about longing for the Lord. It got so much into the disastrous systems that are in place that are pretty much a slaughterhouse for humanity at large, slaughtering our values, slaughtering our, the good and pious results we're all hoping for in life, by encouraging us to do that which is terrible, or that which is useless, and Prabhupada was talking about like the cinemas and the cars and the radio and the flesh and the hotels, all these things, like people, fine dining, all this artificial luxurious life that is the American dream, so to say. It's useless, actually. And actually, instead of useless, it's not like it's just like, all right, well, just be a waste of time. It'll be a waste of time, but it'll take you away from something much more wonderful you could do. But even if it's not just that, it will cause you so much suffering if you engage in it. I think, Piyush, you must have felt when you were out with the gang, that, yes, you found some good, wholesome activity and you were able...
Yeah, the major activities are fine. It's like, it's not, never enough, whatever you do. You always want more.
Yeah.
So you're never satisfied with anything that you're getting.
Yes.
You are always looking for something more and something more, some more fun, some more thing. It's a never ending cycle. Like, you're never satisfied at the end of the trip.
Yes.
You're always like, I could have done more.
Or I could have done this, or we should have done that, or... Yeah, and also you see that, I'm sure you saw that, oh my God, they want to do this now? I don't want to do that. Like, this is what the gang wants to do? Like, if you get implicated in these things, you'll see it. You just know that's not going to be a good result. There's no way we're going to feel great at the end of this.
The only thing I liked was the rooftop golf.
Rooftop golf.
Yeah.
Top golf, did you play?
Top golf, yeah.
Top golf, I see. That's funny. This is an American thing. So, no problem. No problem. That's
It's a
the.
sport, that's all right.
It's like, at least it wasn't like really really detrimental. Like, oh, the thing I really liked was the hamburgers at Red Robin or something. So, anyhow, no problem. But yeah, this is our. If we continue to try and participate in such activities, we're going to be implicated in the chaos of artificial greed. That is what Prabhupada is in power, for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. And Prabhupada is strong. He says, this is but the life of dogs and hogs. This is animal life, just trying to instinctually please our senses. Like Piyush was saying, it's never enough. I always want we need this, and now we need this. Just like a dog. It'll see a lady dog in the street, go take care of business for a minute or so, and then go on, somewhere else and looking for the next thing. Or, do you ever feed a dog? It's never enough. You feed the dog, right back up, ready for it to take more. It's never like, thank you so much, I'm so grateful that you gave me that. No, you got more, and this is the life of animals. Just as much sense gratification as possible. And this is, Prabhupada was saying that human beings have become like less than animals, many of them. Many of them are even more, animals are more sophisticated than them. Just indulging. We can never be happy this way. So you as well. Please know these things, please. Just for your well-being, It's not like my life will get better. If I associate with more elevated people, my life will also get better. So it's a little selfish, I request you. but mostly for you. For you, if you take these higher principles and you live by higher principles, your life will be higher, and guess what? The results. Punjane vatmakritam vipakam. What the results that are coming in will be much more pleasing than they once were if you stop the things that were causing the really displeasing results. Does it make sense, right? You know, like I remember my one friend, Lewis. Oh, and I like Lewis so much. He would come, he would chant, he'd do everything. But we were just telling like Lewis, come on, associate with the devotees, come here, come here. But Lewis, anyone remember Steve here?
Yes.
Steve, Steve introduced me to him. So it was his childhood friend. And we would always tell Lewis, you gotta get out of this job, man. He would work on a garbage truck. But they would give him they would reward him, a pretty good, American program. And it would just keep him in the job. And like, Lewis, this isn't gonna matter in the long run. And he would talk about, he would actually have, I feel bad, really traumatic experiences on the job. Really traumatic stuff that, he hated so much. But just due to the little bit of reward that they would give him, it just kept him in it. And he's like, well, if I only work for one more year, I get this pension program or things like that. But Lewis, it's not worth it. Please, don't do this to yourself. But a lot of us were like Lewis in that way. We just do things, I know if I just get this, sometimes you just got to cut it. Sometimes if it's not for you and you're not looking towards that, you don't have a plan. Even we try to make a plan all right, we'll collect this amount of pension and then get out. No problem. Do it one more year and get out. But it's so tempting. And I have to reach out to Lewis now. You're really inspiring me. I haven't talked to Lewis in a very long time. But yeah, it'll hold you back. I felt that. I was telling my mother-in-law last night or yesterday how even though I was working for devotees, I had 2 jobs working for devotees. You met some of the guys I worked for. You ate some of the prasad. You stayed with them, Mayapur Chandra and the gang. I used to work for them at one point at their restaurant. I don't know if I told you. Remember? You stayed with them, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you were there. And and I stayed with them. And at one point, I kind of got let go. I was doing some things I wasn't necessarily, wasn't that great. And also, on both ends, we should have did things a little better, so like that. But then in the future, I was working with other devotees, and you think, if you work with devotees, you'll eventually realize, okay, everything will come out. We all got to work on stuff together. It's I kind of had this idea, everything will be perfect. We're all devotees, but no, in the work and business world, all the human tendencies will come out. So. Yes, so a lot of actually devotees, they tell you never work with devotees. You'll just make uparads and offenses. And I've seen great risk there. But anyhow, I was working with another batch of devotees, and I saw all the non-devotional elements, and it was really holding me back tremendously. And there was an instance where one of the devotees I was working there, he told me to stop chanting at work. He was Michael in the morning. He was a pujari at the temple. And he told me to stop chanting at work. And I was like, what do you mean? This is our process. Kirtaniya Sadahari. I didn't quote that exactly, but I was saying, we should always be chanting. I knew exactly that you should never tell someone that. But he had some idea, no, we don't want to disturb. And he was kind of forceful. We don't want to disturb these other people here working. They don't want to hear that. And I was just well, I don't care. I want to chant, and this is going to help me get through the job, and it's good for them. Let people hear the name of the Lord. But he was not happy to hear like that. So then I just said, okay. I stopped chanting, and I decided I'll quit tomorrow. That was the last straw for me. That's when a sign from Krishna, nope, not good. And you know the story from there, right? Yes. And then the amount of reward I would have gotten in the whole year was given to me that next day out of seemingly random, by me quitting, because Krishna, I know what Krishna did with and for me. He wanted to teach me a lesson about surrendering and only making him the center, and then he said, "All right, you'll have enough. Don't worry." You can eat. And actually, what we use that money for is that's what we bought the silver. And then years later, when we yesterday we were able to close on the property due to that money. Actually, in large portion, a large portion of that money actually went towards yesterday getting this other piece of land that we can do something better with. So you never know. You never know how it's going to happen. COVID was a wonderful time in America. They had they were just giving out free money. They were just doing it for so long. And
Michael still,
what's that?
when Michael takes COVID off, he still gets
Coverage.
for COVID. No, you're saying not just COVID. I'm saying now also for.
Oh yes. Even now, if you want to, take off work for some time, just pour a little soda or fruit juice on the thing, and you got COVID. So I'm gonna get in trouble, but you never know. Anyhow, I think we'll end here, and Hare Krishna, and
Take you off the internet.
yes, take me off the internet.